My perception changed when I started engaging with the process consistently, and then I started to see improvement. Like I became more willing to work. I was very, very conscious about what I was doing. So it really, really helped me when I got to realize that it's something that was going to it's something that's benefiting me when I'm like doing it when I'm supposed to do it. When I realized that, like I said before, I was helping myself, nobody's coming to save me. Anything that I do is either going to affect my progress negatively or positively.
Okay. So now, how did your research approach now sort of change things around? How did your approach to your work changed? How did it work? How did it change? No.
Like I said before, because I think I've talked about it. But like I said before, I sat down, we strategized. How am I going to do this? How am I going to carry out this data collection? Okay, is this easier? Should I go with this route? Do I have to adjust my topic? And then I did that. I did exactly that, and then the outcome is something that I'm actually pleased with to some extent now.
Whoa, 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 wow! So you're getting results already?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that's interesting to know that results is already coming. So, what would you say to a student who finds structured supervision overwhelming? What would you say?
You might find, okay, because the supervisor is like strict, you might think that this supervisor is pushing you, like, but I feel like students are comfortable with supervisors that are just like that are very, very lenient with them, and they think it's helping. But at the end of the day, it's actually not helping. You are stagnant. I don't know how to phrase it. You are like, you are comfortable with where you are, and you are not supposed to. You are not pushing yourself to do more. You are basically just enjoying the fact that you are not stressing yourself. So that's actually okay. Instead of it pushing yourself to do more, when you are going to actually benefit from trying to push yourself to do more.
What happens when a student moves from frustration and uncertainty into a system where demands, structure, and consistency and accountability are being put forward? In this episode of Oases Academic Adventure, I sit down with Fareedah Eniola as we unpack our undergraduate's research journey through the moment of resistance, academic setback, topic refinement, and personal growth. From struggling with unfamiliar supervision process to discovering the value of discipline and consistency, this conversation will sort of take us through research learning through the they look alike and behind the same process is more than just a discussion about a project. So this podcast will focus on reflecting on the realities of supervision, the importance of critical engagement, and how structured academic guidance can help shape, not just to make the project better, but to make even the learner better. So Fareedah, you're welcome. Can you introduce yourself and tell me your background?
Hello, everyone. My name is Fareedah Eniola. I'm a 400 level mass communication student in the Lagos State University.
When you were first assigned to a new supervisor, what expectations were you carrying from your previous experience?
To be very honest, my experience didn't come from my previous supervisor because we didn't really do much. It came from friends that were assigned to other supervisors. They would talk about how the supervisor would go through their works, consistently follow up. So it didn't really come from my previous supervisor. It came from what friends that were assigned to other supervisors had talked about. My own experience was quite different because there were really not much that was done. There was not like much communication from my supervisor. There wasn't really constant following up. So it was more like we were doing it, like we were doing the writing and then a little of supervision by ourselves. I found it very, very frustrating.
So what specifically made your earlier supervision frustrating in terms of academic progress?
It was very, very frustrating. So having to do most of the work yourself, writing, and then majority of us were stuck at project approval, and also that was basically it. We were doing majority of the work by ourselves, and there was no much communication. So it was like we were sort of like left in the dark.
Okay, you described this as a fresh start in your reflection, and I'm wondering what in particular terms was different from the one you described your new supervision experience as a fresh start. So I'm wondering what in particular practical terms was different from the very day one.
There was no structure like earlier. Like I already said, there was no structure. We didn't have like a proper means of communication, unlike now that like it's easy for us to get feedbacks. We can ask a question now and then we will get response within like before the end of the day. It was not like that before. There was like delayed communication. Sometimes we would not even get response when we ask questions. So yes, it felt like a fresh start. It was something that like it was like a new experience.
Okay, so you mentioned something about structure. So how would you compare the unstructured supervision with a more system-driven approach?
Unstructured approach is like a situation where there is like a little communication, unclear expectations. But with a structured approach, we know that this is like there is a structure. We know where, like when to communicate. We are getting response, like feedback, like immediately. So like it's structured is when like there is communication. There is communication, and the person you are communicating to is giving you feedback like fast. So yes.
Okay, all right. So at what point did you realize that the structure itself was part of the learning process? Because I realized that quite a number of you weren't happy with the structure and you felt like it was entirely new. So at what point did you realize that it was a learning process in itself?
Okay, when there is structure, everything tends to fall in place. Moving into a more structured mode of supervision, it helps to create direction. It makes it clear and easy for you to understand like the process. There is no back and forth. There is just like communicating and then receiving response like immediately.
Okay.
So, like
all right, thank you. So as part of the process of the structuring, because it is an unfamiliar terrain, you mentioned something in your reflection that you struggle with uploading tasks and completing worksheets. What exactly felt difficult or unnecessary at the time?
Okay. So in my previous supervision, we were not used to something like this. It was just, okay, you come to school. If you are able to see your supervisor, you submit your project and then wait to get a response. But this one felt very, very new. I've never heard of something like that before. None of my friends that I spoke to talked about their supervisor having them upload their folders, like having to like upload files and all of that. So it felt like very, very difficult, and to me it felt very unnecessary at first.
At what point did you find out that it was necessary for you to do that? And when did you start finding reason or seeing from another perspective on how it can help you?
I began to, I would say, like it when it started to help me. It made me because before I used to procrastinate a lot. So it was when we started to do it like that, it made me very, very very, would I say, hardworking. I started to take it very, very seriously because obviously if you don't do it, you are going to face the consequences. So yes.
Now, these are administrative skills and soft skills, and they are part of the things that shape us as a person. So did you at any point in time see it as an administrative task, a learning tool, or how did you ever think about, is this necessary? Why do I have to pass through this stress? And what exactly was your position about it? Do you have any perception? What changed your perception, in fact, after that time?
Yes, like I said before, I felt like it was very, very, very unnecessary. because nobody that I spoke to about my final year project talked about their supervisor having them to upload files and folders and having to fill your log sheet. So it felt very, very unnecessary to me, and it was like an administrative requirement rather than learning tools, sir.
So did something changed? I really want to understand what changed. I need to comprehend the aspect of things. What changed? At what point did you start believing this is a learning process that I should be involved in? Yeah.
My perception changed when I started engaging with the process consistently, and then I started to see improvement. Like, I became more willing to work. I was very, very conscious about what I was doing. So it really, really helped me when I got to realize that it's something that was going to, like, it's something that was benefiting me when I'm like doing it when I'm supposed to do it.
Okay. So was that in your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or did it start with the worksheets?
It started with, because I had at some point I had to start my final year project again. So then I got to realize, assuming I had taken it very seriously, I would have known that my methodology that I chose in the previous project that I wanted to do was going to give me some problem if I had carefully done what I was supposed to do at that time. But because I was procrastinating, I was delaying it. I didn't know that at some point it was going to, my methodology was going to give me a big problem. So yes.
Wow, that's quite interesting. Okay, now let's move to some setback and your recovery process. You express some things about emotions, and your emotions were sort of turning into insights in the reflection that you shared. So you received a lower grade earlier than you expected. So what were the specific academic weaknesses that contributed to that outcome from your examination of the entire process?
I would say that my lack of, I would say, number one, I would say procrastination. Procrastination really, really dealt with me. I'm a kind of person that, okay, I know I'm supposed to do something, but then I would want to say, okay, I'll do this later. And then I did not really, really go through everything that I was supposed to go through. As when I had done that, I would have known that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And if I do not do it, it's going to affect my grades. So like when I saw it, it made me realize that, oh, this was actually your own mistake, not like, oh, there was some other reasons why. It was like mainly my own mistake.
Okay. All right. It's good to learn from that. So if you had to advise students based on that, what would you say on that aspect?
I would say that procrastination is not good. I'm emphasizing procrastination because it's very, very bad. And I know that majority of people do it a lot. So I would say do not procrastinate. Always be attentive. Because if I were also attentive when we were giving instructions, because you were not only giving us tasks, there were instructions attached to every task that we were giving. If I had followed the instruction as I was supposed to, I would have known that, okay, if I had done this, the outcome would have been better. So yes, procrastination is not good. Be attentive to instructions, and yes.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. Now, you have reflected well, and I'm beginning to see how this experience influenced your behavior afterwards. How did it influence your behavior afterwards?
I don't know if I should, because I would always do procrastination. I'm still working on procrastination because I still do it a little, but then that one, like, it's really helped me in terms of procrastinating. I don't really procrastinate again. I'm now attentive. If we're asked to do a task, I make sure that I follow up ASAP. I don't used to like waste time. I follow instructions. I do not procrastinate, and that's how it influenced my behavior.
Oh, that's quite interesting to know. So looking back now, what would you do differently before the assessment? What would you do differently?
Looking back, I would have taken time management very, very seriously before the assessment, and I would have followed instruction. Okay. So lack of instruction was one of the key setbacks that you had, right? Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, looking at the critical learning aspect of things, let's see this aspect of things and see what we can talk about around your topic refinements. Now, one of the aspects of the project process is the part of it where you have to select a topic. What was your original idea about selecting a topic?
My original idea was actually select a topic, and then maybe the rest would be easier. But then when I selected my topic, and then afterwards I was already done with my chapter 1 to 3, and then I was seeing that this thing, then we had a call, and then you now explained to me that this topic that you chose, have you really thought about your methodology? Do you think you'll be able to, your data collection will be easy for you? And then I now pondered on it, and I was like, it's actually going to be a very, very difficult thing to do. So I had to adjust my topic in order to make the data collection very, very easier. Because I think majority of us don't really consider methodology when we are writing our projects. We just think, okay, just choose a topic, and then you just know how you would twist your methodology. So it's not going to give you a bit of a problem. But then methodology has to be something that you have to, I feel like you should even consider it before choosing a topic.
That's interesting to know. That's a revelation that you know now. So tell me more about it. Do you think, how would you describe in terms of picture or description, how would you describe methodology?
I think I'll say myself. I just thought, questionnaire, because before I was going to go with questionnaire. I did not really, I was just because I've seen people from past levels just they will share questionnaires to our group and they will up them with you. So I was thinking that something that's some people even use it's something that you could just share, and then people will just feel it. So I had to rethink my decision, rethink everything. And then I saw that because people are actually doing questionnaire, I thought it was easy. It does not really work for everybody. So I had to change it, but I realized that this thing is not going to work for the topic that I actually chose.
It's interesting to know that. Now, there is a mistake that people often make. They just share questionnaire to random people. What's your idea? Who should fill a questionnaire? Should it be informed by the kind of research, the audience of research, or should it just be any random people? I'm working on something on radio. People who doesn't listen to radio, should they feel it? I'm working on something that has to do with internet. People who don't have access to the internet, should they listen to it? Should they feel it?
Sir, please, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I did not
my question is, I've seen instances of cases where a research is sort of designed. I won't even say design in quotes. And when it comes to the data collection, they just give it to any random persons to fill the questionnaire. That's one of the shortcomings of questionnaire. There is no target audience. So if you don't have target audience, if the wrong people are filling the questionnaire, it means that you're getting the wrong data. And if you're going to make a conclusion based on that data, you'll be misleading the people. So what was your idea about this? Is this the same thing, or what changed?
Okay, I'm not saying questionnaire is good. Like you said before, some people will just give it to random people that, let's say your topic is about radio, people that listen to radio, and then you now go and give it to a Gen Z that does not really listen to radio. They will have to help you lie. So questionnaire is not bad if you give it to the right people. When I chose my topic, I did not really think about it very, very well. I chose radio at first. I still chose radio actually, but then I did not really think about the data collection, how it was going to affect me. So I'm not saying questionnaire is not good. Questionnaire is good. Me, I worked with focus group discussion. So I went there by myself, made a recording. But questionnaire, it's actually good, but then it has there's a way you can try to forge some responses, and then your supervisor would not even know at the end of the day.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Now, you have mentioned in the detailed discussion that the process has helped refine your topic. So what was wrong or unclear about your initial idea?
Okay. My initial idea was I was using radio, but then I was going to get my information from residents of a particular area. So then when we had the detailed discussion, I got to realize that the data collection was going to be a very, very great issue, because I would have to start knocking on people's door and all of that, and it was going to sort of like I would not even be able to meet up with the number I was supposed to get. So then I now had to change my topic to market women. I was supposed to use residents of a particular area. I had to change it to market women, because at the end of the day, I feel like market women listen to radio more than than residents actually. So I changed it from residents to.
What did that process teach you about defining a research problem?
Is it when I went for my data collection?
No, I mean, we talked about what particular thing that changed that make it okay. Let's come back to this particular question. You've mentioned something that was wrong, that was unclear about your initial idea. So I was going to say, what specific change were made to make it more manageable?
I think I already said part of this before.
Yes, I just want you to be specific in your answers.
Yes, the focus before was it was residents of a particular area. So I changed it to market women to make data collection easier, and I did focus group discussion. So there was no way to forge any response. I was there, I recorded it myself and transcribed it. So yes.
Okay, all right. So what did this process teach you about defining a research problem?
It taught me that was it when I went to collect my data? When I went for my focus group discussion?
Definitely you have to define a problem. When you in the process of writing and up to the point of collection, what did it teach you?
Okay, let me start with the supervision that I got. It helped me in terms of having to be consistent, no procrastination, managing my time effectively, I didn't have to delay any work. And then when I got to the process of my methodology, it taught me that I don't really have to use questionnaire to be able to get a good project. Questionnaire is not the only way to get, because I wanted to use questionnaire. Questionnaire is not the only way to get a good response. So I had to cancel questionnaire out of what I was thinking before. I had to do focus group so that I did not know anything about. I had to learn about it, and then I had to do it.
Interesting. So that led to you learning about new research method. In talking about method, what was your original initial understanding of conducting a focus group discussion?
Like I said before, that was not my what I wanted to do initially. I wanted to just use questionnaire. So I didn't really have much of an idea about it. But when I decided I wanted to do that, I watched YouTube videos on how to conduct focus group discussions. I watched them, so I was able to understand how it is done, and I also read some stuff, so I was able to understand how to conduct a focus group discussion.
Okay, so were there challenges? What were the challenges that you encountered during the process? The process of doing the focus group discussion.
The number one challenge was the fact that I had to conduct it in Yoruba, because people that was going to conduct the focus group discussions were market women. Not all of them understand English. So that was the first challenge that I faced. And then the second challenge was that I conducted it in a marketplace with market women during their trading hours. So there was some of them would just stand up to attend to customers. So there was a bit of pause, and then we'll continue. And yes, that was challenges I faced.
So if you were to conduct it again, what would you improve?
I would improve. Okay, if I wanted to conduct the same focus group discussion
again
in the same location, I would say perfect my Yoruba speaking ability, because I'm not really fluent in my Yoruba speaking. So I would say I would perfect that, because I know that if I did it in English, it would have been better.
Okay. Wow, interesting. So now, coming back to translating this into deeper knowledge, what does consistency look like in practice within your workflow?
Consistency in my workflow means that being prompt with tasks and regularly checking for updates on what needs to be done. That's what consistency means to me. It also involves staying attention, because our own mode of communication is through our emails. So checking for updates on emails and having to complete tasks immediately.
Oh, all right. Thanks for sharing that. Now, what habit did you have to change?
Procrastination.
Okay, I think there's a thing about this procrastination. Has it always been with you, or it's something that just...
there's a thing about procrastination to me. Like, I used to procrastinate a lot.
Okay, so where do you still struggle in terms of and how are you addressing it? Apart from procrastination, what other areas are you still struggling?
Aside procrastination, it has to be with time management, and time management, it's still like procrastination. So like time management, that's the area that I'm still struggling with a little. Procrastination, time management. I still used to like delay tasks just a little bit. Those are the areas that I'm still having.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
It sure is just a little bit.
Yes, sir. Just a little bit.
All right. So now, in terms of supervisor-student relationship dynamics, in what ways did the supervision approach push you beyond your comfort zone?
It pushed me beyond my comfort zone by making me more disciplined, and knowing that anything that I do is for my own gain. Like, if I do something that is not good, it's going to affect me. So at some point, I realized that anything that I'm doing, I'm the one that's still going to benefit from it at the end of the day, either good or bad.
Okay. So, all right. Thanks for sharing that. Did you ever disagree with any requirement or feedback in the course of your supervision? So what did you disagree with?
Those times where we have to upload files, because there was a time at the initial stage we were asked to, any literature that we cited, we had to download it and then upload it. So I saw it as extra task that was unnecessary at that point.
Okay, so did anything change about that?
Okay, I would say that I had writing a project. Now I have everything in one place, so it's easier for me to, like, the folder now, I can just go to my literature cited and then go through it. It was like it's in a folder that I can easily have access to, that I can easily access. Or like if I did not download the literature that I cited, I might have to be going to Google, like to be like having to like search and then read through again. Or like now that I have access to everything and I've already downloaded it in my file.
So what value does that give you? Does that offer you?
That in what way?
Now, has it helped you?
Can you hear me?
The question is, has it helped you? What value is that offering? Is it valuable? Are you still disagreeing? Would you, if you are to wind back the hands of the clock, will you still disagree?
No, I would not. No, I would not disagree, because it's actually helping me. Like I said before, I have everything in one place that I can easily go back to and then check through everything. So I don't disagree with it. In fact, I actually like it now. I see it now.
So how did this structure influence your independence as a researcher?
Oh my God.
How did it influence your independence as a researcher?
Okay. it made me realize that I am fully accountable for the outcome of everything that I do. It teaches me that no one will come to save me at the end of the day. I'm accountable for the people that I
no one will come to save you at the end of the day. So what does that mean exactly? It means you have to carry your cross, or what?
Carry your cross.
Okay, all right. Okay, cross here is the problem, right? So now, how independent do you think? How independent are you? Are you getting to? How independent are you now?
I would say that I'm actually better than before. Like, I'm now more independent. Now I know that I can do some things because of what you've taught us.
Okay, can you give an example?
Before, I would say before, when I started writing my projects, I just wrote. Like I said before, I didn't really think about how it was like my methodology and all of that was going to affect me. But now, after we had the detailed discussion, I learned a lot. I now saw like project is not just something that you just write like that. You have to like think about it. It has different stages. Have you planned towards it? How it's going to work and all of that. So I think that like I'm more independent now than before.
Okay, now moving to the turning point. What specific moments did when you moved from your resistance to acceptance? Was there a specific moment when you moved from your resistance to acceptance of the system that was in place?
Yes.
When was that, and what triggered it?
When I realized that, like I said before, I was helping myself, nobody's coming to save me. Anything that I do is either going to affect my progress negatively or positively.
Okay. So now, how did your research approach now sort of change things around? How did your approach to your work changed? How did it work? How did it change?
Like I said before, because I think I've talked about it. But like I said before, I sat down, re-strategized. How am I going to do this? How am I going to carry out this data collection? Okay, is this easier? Should I go with this route? Do I have to adjust my topic? And then I did that. I did exactly that, and then the outcome is something that I'm actually pleased with to some extent now.
Wow. So you're getting results already?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. That's interesting to know that results is already coming. So, what would you say to a student who finds structured supervision overwhelming? What would you say?
I would say that you might find because supervisor is like strict, you might think that this supervisor is pushing you, like, but I feel like students are comfortable with supervisors that are just like that are very, very lenient with them, and they think it's healthy. But at the end of the day, it's actually not helping. You are stagnant. I don't know how to phrase it. You are comfortable with where you are, and you are not supposed to be. You are not pushing yourself to do more. You are basically just enjoying the fact that you are not stressing yourself, so that's actually okay. Instead of it pushing yourself to do more, when you are going to actually benefit from trying to push yourself to do more.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that useful insights. So what is the biggest misconception? I think you've addressed that a bit. The biggest misconception between easy and effective supervision.
Yes, I think I have.
You've touched on that. You saw my question beforehand, Abby. That's why. in future, I'm not going to disclose my question. If I had a way of doing this conversation again, I'm not going to reveal my question. Okay, all right. So, would you want to say something more about it? Misconception between easy and effective. If there's something you want to add more onto that.
I already talked about a little, but I'm still going to. I
Yeah.
think I'll still add some
Okay, maybe you should
little
just add
information.
what one principle from your experience.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, from my experience. Okay, I'll say from my experience. Um, Initially when I started this whole when we changed our supervisor, it felt like I was coming out of my own comfort zone. It was not something that I was used to before. Like now we now have to start communicating better, having to do tasks and all of that. It actually helped, but at first I didn't like it at all because I felt like this is something that is unnecessary. We've already written projects, it's just corrections that we give. You don't need to download some stuff and have to upload them. So yes.
Okay. So now, between those two things, if you compare what you did before and now, which one would you be proud of?
Now, because
now.
it's effective.
It's effective.
The importance.
So what one principle from your experience would you want others to adopt early?
I would say do not procrastinate. I know majority of us likes to procrastinate.
Yes.
Do not procrastinate. Manage your time very well. Always follow instructions and make sure that you do not just choose a topic. You have checked that, okay, when I want to collect my data, is this something that's going to be easy for me? It's not just about choosing a topic. Because if you just choose the topic, at the end of the year, you're still going to have some issues trying to collect some data and all of that. So you have to choose the topic that when you want to collect data, you know that it's something that's going to be very, very easy for you to get. So I'll say time management, do not delay and all of that together.
So, wow, thank you. Well, nearly coming to an end of this conversation. And to put all of these things together, how would you describe yourself now compared to when you started this project?
Can you please repeat?
How would you describe yourself now compared to when you started this project?
Now I have gained more knowledge. Before I didn't know how to conduct focus group discussion. I didn't know how to properly manage my time. I used to procrastinate a lot, but now I'm learning to manage my time. I've gotten to a place whereby, okay, I know that yes, I've made very big change than when I started. So I would say that.
In what ways has this particular supervision experience changed how you approach learning generally and taking up responsibility?
Like I said before, this project that we are doing is mainly for our own good. It is your cross to carry at the end of the day. So whether you choose to prolong things, you are going to get a prolonged outcome. So it is better, though it might not be easy, but it's better for you to start taking things very seriously. Make sure that you are prompt to do the tasks. Always go through your emails. Do not prolong anything. Learn to manage your time, because the more you start prolonging things, the more you have to, then at the end of the day, you now have to start rushing things and then you not get a very good outcome. So do not prolong stuff. Always check your email for new tasks and make sure to complete them promptly.
Wow, interesting. So Fareedah's experience has reminded us about effective supervision, and is not always the easiest part, but often the most transformative. So growth in research rarely comes from comfort zone, and from my experience we can tell that it comes from the place of reflection, the place of corrections, the place of consistency, and of course willingness to let bad behavior go, such as procrastination, and the willingness to engage deeply with the process. So I really appreciate your engagement, Fareedah Eniola, for sharing. Now I would like to take any question if we have question. So does anybody have a question? Ade, Shola, Zayzat, I know you're with us too. Does anybody wants to ask a question before I bring this to a close? If you want to, you can unmute your mic or raise your hand. All right, no questions, I believe. So on this note, I would say, let us consider some of the questions we have already in advance. So are you ready for this? If you had to guess the question that they will ask, what question do you think they will ask?
It would be, what challenges would you face if you wanted to write a project, a final year project? I think that would be the question.
I think that will be okay. All right, let's have a look. How did you get to understand the supervisor's feedback, and how was it easy when it keeps you stuck at a particular stage?
How was I able to understand the supervisor's feedback?
Yes, and how were you able to how were you able to navigate when it keeps you stuck at a particular stage?
I was able to navigate this feedback. I would say what you are doing is actually the main, how will I call it? If you are doing something that is, if you are doing something that is not what you are meant to do, your feedback, you cannot expect your feedback to be the same with somebody that is doing like what the person is meant to do. And then I feel like because we have a log sheet where we write down everything that we are doing, where we meet and all of that. So if you are keeping track, you'll be able to understand that, okay, this is where I have gotten to. This is what I need to do. So from that, you'll be able to track everything and then do exactly what you are meant to do.
All right. Thanks for sharing that insight. Another question says that, what was the biggest challenge you faced during your academic or career journey, and how were you able to overcome it?
Academic. Challenges I faced in my academic. We are not talking about project now. Are we talking about project or just?
I think the question looks more general. Maybe there's something in your past that has shaped your journey.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay, then let's take this question. So, what mistakes do you what mistakes do you think other students are doing wrong when it comes to academic writing? I think that's the question.
I heard, what mistakes do I?
Yeah, what mistake do you think a student are doing wrong that is making it difficult for them to achieve their goals?
The number one mistake is not following instructions, procrastinating. You don't know how to manage your time. You think that there's still time to do something, and at the end of the day, you now have to start rushing things. It's actually going to affect you very, very badly. So do not procrastinate. Learn to manage your time very well. Always follow instructions. Do not wait for the deadline before you have to start rushing things.
Wow. All right. And the last one here says that, why is research always hard?
It is hard, yes. But then the kind of topic that you choose is going to determine if it's going to be harder or it's going to be hard.
Really?
Yes.
All right. So, how would you navigate this process? Okay. How would you navigate? What would be your parting words, your closing statement?
I already talked about this before, but I would say that before you choose a topic, make sure that you know that when I get to the stage of collecting data, how am I going to work around this? How is it going to be easy for me? Am I going to be like, do I have easy access to it? It should not be as if now that you've already completed chapter 1 and 2, then you start racking your brain. How am I going to get it? And now you have to start writing the project all over again. First of all, understand that, okay, data collection process, how is it going to happen? Do I not have to write again? Like, you have to work around that that part.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. And if you're listening to this particular episode, I want to thank you for listening to this particular series on undergraduate project supervision reflection. If this conversation resonated with you, if this conversation truly resonated with you, it will be great to connect. Share it with another student, researcher, or an educator who will benefit from this insight. Until the next time, let's keep learning, let's keep questioning, and let's keep building with purpose. Thank you, and see you in the next